Okay, so we've all felt it before, that feeling of panic, and which inevitably leads to tension, and when that tension rises and peaks, it leads to a fright that we've all anticipated. This is what defines horror, and today I will analyze for you the elements of fear that is implemented into game design. Now, my fondness for game design, and as a fan of the horror genre, I've always studied horror games like as a hobby in my own free time. So I've done this for quite a while. And in addition to that, fear is an element that we've all experienced at one point or another in our lives. And the horror genre itself is a very popular genre, and you know, we see it, tons of movies made out of this, but in games, it's an even better, it's a better medium for fear. And today I will explain to you the psychology of fear, the artistic interpretations of these elements, and how to use fear in game design. But before we get into horror in game design, we need to understand what fear is. And we can do this by analyzing the psychological elements, the basic definition of fear, and the symbolism involved in fear. For instance, the definition of horror is a sensation of fear. And Lisa Fischer, in an article concerning phobias, describes that fear is a basic emotion that alerts us to the presence of danger. And danger is the key word here. And you'll notice that all of these elements implement fear in some way, or danger in some way. And another way to implement fear is symbolism. And these use elements of danger. Now, look at these. Can you see this?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, this is the color red, and red is the same color as blood. And because of this, our immediate subconscious reaction to red is the presence of danger. And we see this in warning signs, that they're always colored red, and this is a universal aspect. And yeah, listening to that. The darkness is another symbol that represents fear, and we see darkness a lot in like horror movies, horror games. It's an element that's very prevalent in horror, and it represents the unknown. And the unknown is frightening to us because it uses the unknown to have us curious about what kind of effect it will have on us. So we don't know if it's a danger or not, and that's what scares us. And with the understanding of these elements, we can move on to the art of games, and specifically how the art and visuals can create an atmosphere of horror. Now, I'm going to move to the next slide. I don't know if the logger is finished, but I don't think it will be a problem. So, can you see this? It's not dark. Thank you very much. Yeah, so again, we see these, look at these elements of the symbols that I've described. It's dark, it's mysterious, it's foreign to us, and the blood splatters all over the room. It's not a place you would want to have a Sunday picnic in. It's a very scary place. It creates an atmosphere of horror that, it's really very oppressive. And the next slide is a creature. I don't think this is a problem. Yeah, look at this guy. And it's a kind of artistic interpretation of horror, but in a completely different way. He's not really all that psychological. He's more an immediate presence of danger. I mean, he's big and imposing. He's grotesque, and he's huge, and he's got that guy by his face. Probably killed him. Who knows? It might be on him. So yeah, this is an immediate sense of danger, and it's another way to use art in a fearful manner. That's it. This brings me to how fear can be implemented in a game's mechanics, and there is a multitude of ways to implement this. Jesper Juhl, in the Video Game Meter Theory 2, which is a book, writes, failure serves as a deeper function of making players readjust their perception of the game. So basically, the player is going to be unwilling to lose. It changes their perspective and their perception of the game. They don't want to die, so they're going to think differently, they're going to play differently. Failure is a very important function and important consequence. So, traditional way is combat, and one way to do that is to have monsters that try to kill you. Again, that picture of that guy, he tries to kill you, but it's hopeless because he's so much more powerful. It creates a sense of hopelessness and a dread when you see this guy coming. But there's another way, such as a room in Silent Hill 3, where there's a room and it's basically a trap, and so this results in the player being more wary of any other location. It plays on their immediate desire to explore the game. So to summarize, the psychology of fear, the atmosphere, and the consequences of the game can create a great atmosphere for it, and let's hope that this isn't a trend that will end anytime soon.
So Shane, what did you think? And speak up loud so we can get it on the recorder.
I thought that you picked, I like that you picked a topic that you're already involved in. You had good flowing transitions. Your voice was loud and clear. You did a good job with PowerPoints and thinking into your topic. You had a little bit of stuttering, but most of it was clear. And I thought that you had good visual contact with the audience.
All right. I like the visualization that you started with to get our attention. You do a good job identifying the topic and have a very clear thesis statement, an excellent preview of the body of the speech. Also, organizationally, internally, you do a good job with the signposting, so we always know where you are. I think you spent a lot of time defining fear and horror, and I think it needs a very brief explanation. I think most people get a sense of what's going on there, and I think you need a little bit more time spent talking about how those elements are integrated into the games that you're talking about. I did like the visualizations that you had to talk about setting or characters and how they might generate fear in the game. I liked some of the citations that you had in the second part of the speech that talked about the way it influences the players in their playing of the game, and I think you needed a little bit more information in that section to beef it up a little bit. On the presentation, the visuals I thought were presented pretty effectively. It appears that everything was planned. Your delivery is good. You've got a good audience contact. You project pretty well. I think you could use a little bit more energy and maybe some personal passion in the presentation. It seems just a little dry, but it's just that's a minor criticism. For the most part, you did a very good job talking to the audience, and I think everybody appreciates that. All right, thank you.